Hi guys, welcome to the second episode of my beginner series. In my earlier episode, I had talked about books that I thought a beginner would enjoy and also a few tips on reading that I thought would be useful for people who are starting their reading journey. So today I am going to recommend a separate list from a different category. Today I'm going to talk about books by Indian authors that I think a beginner will enjoy. So I'll just quickly run through the tips for reading that I had mentioned last time. There is a lot of disturbance because of the election propaganda, so please bear with me. Anyway, so the tips for reading are that never read when you're in bed, when you're sleepy, and also read consistently. Like every day you have to read at least for 15 minutes, okay? More than that is up to you. Then do not stop when you encounter words that are difficult because that will break your flow of reading. So stop after maybe a chapter or maybe 10 pages, how much ever you have decided, and then go and look at the meanings of the words. You won't have a problem because when you're keeping the context of the word in mind, you will understand what is being written. Read what interests you. Read books that you think you will enjoy. Don't go by lists, and just because it's mentioned in a list, don't go and read a book. Find out about that book. There is a website called the Goodreads, not the Goodreads, it's called goodreads.com, and you have reviews by people who have read those books. So do your research, go to Goodreads, Google the book, find out about it, and if you think that you will enjoy it, then read it. Even my list. Don't go by it if you don't find the topic interesting, okay? Find books that you will enjoy. So these are the points that you should keep in mind while starting your reading journey. Another thing that I just wanted to mention is that these books that I recommend are for adults who are starting their reading journey and not for children, because children have a whole different set of factors that have to be kept in mind, and there's a huge world of children's books out there which I have no clue about. So I'm not at all qualified to talk about children's books, but there are certain factors that you can keep in mind when you are starting your child out on their reading journey. Mainly for children, have books around the house. There should be books around which they can touch, which they can see, and some children naturally fall into reading books. Some children will find it difficult. See, don't force children, okay? Rather welcome them or take them into the world of stories. Get them interested in stories. And for children who have difficulty reading, because some people have undetected learning issues. So such children will not want to sit and read, but give them picture books, give them illustrated comics, and introduce them to the world of stories, so their imagination will start flying. So children and books is a whole separate ball game altogether, so I'm not even talking about that. Now let's move on to the book list of today. And today, like I said, I have got a list of Indian authors for you. These are not translations, that's going to be another episode. These are English books written by Indian authors, and books that I think that you will enjoy as a beginner. So I'll start with one of my really favorite authors, Janvi Barua, and the book is called Next Door. It's a collection of 11 short stories, and the stories are set in Assam. The protagonists of these stories are very ordinary people living their lives, and Janvi has taken slices of life, has taken slices from their lives and shown it to us as stories. It's very enjoyable reading Janvi's stories because the way she writes, and it's a beautiful experience. I actually felt like I was sitting under a tree, and there's mellow sunlight, and I'm reading, and it's very beautiful. One of my favorite stories is called Holiday Homework. It's about an old gentleman, and his neighbor, a young woman, and her little son. These stories are things that you will find around you. These are protagonists that you will find around you, or you would have already met in life. They are not all feel-good stories. Some of them will make your heart heavy, but they're all written beautifully. And you will see an Assam that maybe you didn't know anything about. So Janvi Barua's Next Door, which is a collection of 11 short stories, is my first recommendation of the day. And now we move on to another part of the country, Kerala. And the book is Mango Cheeks and Metal Teeth by Aruna Nambiar. The title itself is so quirky, and that is the main reason why I picked up the book. And after reading it, I wondered why it was not talked about more, because it is a great book. It is nostalgic, it's a beautiful read, and there are, certain things, certain undercurrents running through it which will make you stop and think. So, this book, Mango Cheeks, Metal Teeth, is actually a book that is soaked in nostalgia. It is set in the 80s in Kerala. The story is through the eyes of Geeta, who is about to be 12, and she stays in Bombay with her parents, and she's coming home to a small town in Kerala to be with her grandparents. And all the cousins are converging on the grandparents' house. So you can imagine all that is going on, all that happens between the children, and also the family dynamics which are playing around them, which they are unaware of. When Geeta finds that she's in that in-between stage where she's not included along with the older children or with the younger ones, and she slowly gravitates towards the kitchen, and she finds there's a whole world there. The cook and so many interesting characters, and Aruna brings out all the quirks of these different kinds of characters so well. She writes beautifully, and you're going to relive your childhood, and you're going to think of all those memories. It's just that it's set in Kerala, but I think the emotions that run through it and a lot of incidents are something that we felt by everybody, no matter where you are. So, Mango Cheeks, Metal Teeth by Aruna Nambiar is a lovely read, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So, that is the second recommendation of the day. Now, we come to the third book of the day, and that is Empire by Devi Yashodharan. And this book is as far removed from the earlier book as possible. It is set in the 11th century in the Chola kingdom. The main protagonist is Aramis, who is a Greek girl. The ship that Aramis was traveling in was a pirate ship, and in the following battle between the Chola navy and the pirate ship, the Greeks are defeated, and Aramis is one of the spoils of war. She's a very young child at that time, and she's taken as a prisoner of war, and she is trained as a soldier later. So it's not a glamorous life, no, not like what we see in movies, or it is a very difficult life for a child who realizes that she's an outsider. One, because she is Greek, and two, because she is a woman. And yet she learns to navigate the very, very dangerous waters around her, and she moves ahead in life until she becomes the bodyguard of the Chola king. So it is a very interesting read, written very well, and the whole landscape comes alive through Devi Yashodharan's words. Then there is Ananta, who is the supreme commander of the Chola king. And Ananta feels slightly protective about Aramis, and he sees that she is not victimized too much, but he also uses her in his power schemes. So this is the kind of world that Aramis is in, and Devi brings it alive so well. There are beautiful descriptions of life in Nagapattinam, which is one of the main centers of the Chola Empire. It is a coastal town, and it's marvelous just reading about it. You actually feel you are there, and it's a different way of life, and everything is so different. So, Empire by Devi Yashodharan is a historical fiction novel. So, anybody who is interested in history and to know about what happens during those times, to know about it in a very enjoyable way, start reading Empire by Devi Yashodharan. It's a great read. So that was the third book, and now we move on to the fourth book, which is The Zoya Factor by Anuja Chauhan. So the book is amazing. The book is a lot of fun. Unfortunately, the movie was not, so please do not judge the book by the movie. The main protagonist is Zoya Singh Solanki, who is a young client servicing executive in an ad firm. And her dream is to, work on an ad with Shah Rukh Khan. And that day is almost near, and she's almost ready to meet Shah Rukh Khan, and his trailer is there, and she's just starting to, walk towards it. And when she gets a call from her boss asking her to move away and go to another campaign, which involves the Indian cricket team. So Zoya is pissed off, and she's so angry with the whole thing. And yet she goes, and there she meets a couple of cricketers, and she meets the Indian cricket captain, Nikhil Khoda. Ooh, he's damn cool. He's a great male protagonist. Zoya meets a couple of them for the ad shoot, and next day they are having a match, and she ends up having breakfast with them for some strange reason. She ends up having breakfast with them, and they win that match. Later, due to many different circumstances, she has meals with them on several other occasions, and each time they win the match. And when she doesn't have the meal with them, they lose the match. Okay, and the team, the young players in the team, start thinking of her as their lucky charm. But Nikhil Khoda hates it because he believes that all the wins are due to the skills of his team members and not due to any luck. So on the other hand, Zoya is very uncomfortable. Okay, there's another factor which plays a huge role, in this luck thing, and that is Zoya was born on the day that Kapil Dev and his team won the World Cup. So the youngsters know that, the young Indian cricket team knows that. So that is why they are so hung up on the fact that she's their lucky charm. On the other hand, Zoya is fed up. I mean, she doesn't believe in any of these things, but she starts feeling guilty that maybe it's because I am with them that they're winning or whatever. She slightly falls for that. So this is the whole premise and how it is taken forward, and so it's written very well. There's a lot of humor, and there are very, very interesting characters, including Zoya's family, her dad, her brother, her uncles. Her brother insists on calling her Golu because she's got round cheeks and she's got this mass of curly hair, and she's just like so full of life. So it is the story of Zoya Singh Solanki and Nikhil Khoda, and it's a beautiful romance and a really fun read. There is a part in the second half which is slightly lagging, but other than that, it's like one entertainment roller coaster. So beginners, please, you will find this enjoyable. You're looking for a really light read, go read Zoya Factor by Anuja Chauhan and have a great time. Now we come to the last book in the series, and in this list, and that is Flutter in the Colony by Sandeep Ray. This is a story which is set in 1956 in Calcutta and Malaya. So this is the story of a family who moved from Calcutta to rural Malaya and settled there. And the main protagonists are a young man, his wife, and their son. It is also the story of these two people finding out more about each other and becoming more aware of each other, this young couple. There is a strain between them, and there is some sort of a gap between them. But they start understanding each other more. So it is that journey, and also the journey of this young man. It is their journey, and it is also the journey of this young man who finds that even if the surroundings are different, even if the whole environment is different, even if all the people are different, you cannot change who you are. You cannot change your beliefs, and you cannot change the values that you believe in. So it is the story of these people, and those times, that period is one of enormous turmoil in both Bengal and Malaya, where the Britishers are slowly starting. Britishers have withdrawn, not starting, but they have withdrawn, and the aftermath of their rule is being felt by the people, and there are a lot of independence movements happening, and what is happening to them. And so the narrative alternates between the past, young man's past, and his present. It's a really enjoyable read. It's an interesting read, and it will challenge you a little bit, but it is something that you can enjoy. So that is why I have included it in this list. So these are the books by Indian authors that I feel that a beginner will enjoy. There are so many more by so many lovely authors. I'm not even going into that. So once you start this journey, you will discover other authors by yourself, and you will discover how beautiful the world of reading and the world of books are. So start off with books that you enjoy. So today's list is all about Indian authors, and try to finish at least one book in this list that I've talked about, and give yourself a time frame. Maybe give yourself a month to finish a book. Okay, don't force yourself, but set a slightly wide time frame, because without a time frame you'll just keep it away. So keep this in your mind, because you're starting this journey. That is why I want a few restrictions in mind, so that you do not just leave it. It's very easy to stop reading a book. So once you start that, unless you push yourself a little bit, You will soon think that no, because it's the last priority in your mind. You'll finish everything else. You have other priorities which are more important. I totally understand that. But this is just 15 minutes of your time. So try, please try, because you have to read, and reading opens up so many new worlds for you, and so many people come into your life, and these 15 minutes you will step away from your life and you will be in somebody else's world. So that is the beauty of reading. You learn about so many things happening all over the world, and so many things are different, yet so many things are similar. So that is the world of books, and that is the world of reading. So get down to it, start reading, and take my list as a pointer. You might find other books that you enjoy. Please read it. Please read. And if you have any books that you as a beginner, people who are readers, if there are any books that you as a beginner have enjoyed, do DM me and tell me which it was so that I can include it in one of my lists. So that was the book list for beginners of books by Indian authors. Next week, I'll come with another category. So until then, stay safe, start reading, keep reading, and we'll meet again. Bye bye.